Hey. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Bernard, can you hear me? You gotta unmute your line.
Yep, I can hear you. Yep, I just unmuted it. Should
Okay.
be good.
All right, great. All right, so it's Friday.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
I can hear
good.
you just fine. It's Friday, January the 31st, 2020, and it's yours truly, the semi-professional pest, Mumia Obsidian Ali. I'm here with Bernard Riley, new up-and-coming YouTuber in the Black Manosphere, and we're here today because the other day he invited me onto his show over on YouTube, and I'm going to let him introduce the topic. But the problem was, for whatever reason, could be due to bad weather or whatever, but the sound quality on my end wasn't to my particular liking, and I felt that was kind of unfair to him. So I offered to redo our discussion from the other day, so that's the reason why we're here tonight. So with no further ado, I want to hand it off to Bernard, and then we'll go from there. Bernard, go right from there.
Hey, what's up, man? We're getting this going again. Round 2 on the topic. I can't handle a strong black woman. That topic came from the idea, the notion. It started from this. Tim Alexander, who you shout out all the time. When I watched his movie, really good movie that he put together, he said a woman actually told him during that, she said something about, you got to be able to handle a strong black woman. And he said, what does that mean? Because every time I hear strong black woman, I'm normally getting chewed out by somebody. So that just led me to the point that when they're throwing that charge at us, that, oh, you just can't handle a strong black woman, I think it's about time that it's about time that we concede the point. You're right. We can't handle a strong black woman if that is defined as that overbearing, argumentative, combative, disagreeable woman who you got to be in a tug of war with. If that's the strong black woman, you're right. I can't handle that. What say you on that topic?
I 100% agree. Tim Alexander's movie, it's part drama, part documentary. Diary of a Retired Black Man came out over a decade ago, and very well shot. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's right, and that's my position. See, the thing with me, with Bernard, is that, and I'm, shameless plug, I'm working on my book, and the very first book of many, God willing, and the creek don't rise, and it's called the Book of Obsidian, a manual for the 21st century Black American gentleman. And what really sets my book apart from all the other books that have come down the pike in the past dozen years or so to present, bearing to one degree or another on what I refer to as black love, is that my book is rooted in the now, in the current present moment. And that line from black women, we're both Gen Xers, we grew up with that. We literally grew up in the shadow of that line. You can't handle a strong black woman, this, that. I'm strong in the pit, don't need no man, and all that sort of thing. And we need a new conversation, because what I've learned in my research, I've gone as far back as the 1990s with this. So you're looking at better part of 3 decades. And what I've learned is that the talking points, I guess you could call it, on this topic, they never die. I mean, it's what was being said back in 1990, or even what was being said back in 1990 is being said right now. As a matter of fact, one of my listeners sent me a video, and I'm going to do a show on this next week. He sent me a video of a Sally Jesse Raphael show from 1993, featuring a panel of black women, which included a much younger Iyanla Vanzant. And they're saying the same shit that they're saying today. The exact same shit. I mean, this has been 27 years.
Yeah.
And they're saying the same shit. Yeah. And so here's the other thing. Here's the other thing with it. So recently, about a week and a half ago, another one of my listeners sent me a video of a woman by the name of Shan Bodie. Okay, big social media personality and sexologist. She likens herself to a mishmash. She sees herself as a mishmash between Dr. Ruth and Rihanna, which I thought was an interesting combination. And very attractive.
Right, I'm trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, very attractive young lady. And she's got a book out and is doing well. Matter of fact, that book will be part of my research as I round all this out. And but based on what I saw, she had a panel or she had a group of black women, like 3 black women, and they're millennials, talking about their travails and dating. They're saying the exact same thing that Iyanla Vanzant and that Pearl Cleage and all these black women were saying in 1993. The same in 2019, because this video was done last summer. So 26 years.
Wow.
They're saying the same tired shit. And what the millennial sisters were saying was basically an iteration of, the strong black woman piece. And my thing is, look, we got to move the needle. We got to move on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Aaliyah, man. We need a resolution. So my position, one of the things I say is that we are where we are. I think a lot of black Americans are very anxious in the current moment that we're in, because we're seeing black America change before our very eyes. We're seeing it change in various ways. One of those ways is along dating and mating lines. We all know that black folks ain't getting married the way we used to. We could debate the reasons for that, but the outcome is we're not doing it the way we used to. The way that we form families is different. And I'm being that's putting it light.
Very generous with the word family.
Exactly. All of these things are changing in deeply profound ways, and we all know it. And it's giving us a lot of anxiety because it's a very unsettling thing to witness. A lot of black women know that as black men continue to achieve success, financial success, educational success, career success, social success, their options in terms of mating is going to continue to expand. And, black women are very sensitive to that, to those changes, even minute ones. Even the mere discussion of it sets black women on edge. So, these are just small examples of all of these things. And my position is attempting to roll back the clock or stuff like that's we're whistling past the graveyard. We need to instead look, have the guts to look this clear, straight in the eye, accept it for where we are, and move forward. And I think what black women and black men have to do at this point, for the most part, there are notable exceptions, but in the main, accept the fact that we want different things. Black men and black women, by and large, I'm not saying this is true across the board, but generally speaking, we want different things. We want different things out of life. We have different ideas of what makes a good life. And the one thing I was saying earlier this morning, I was talking about this before I went on the air with regard to this, because it is connected to our topic right now, the current SYSBM debate. And I was saying, the one thing that's left out of this discussion is age. I'm 51, so I'm literally at the mid-age. I'm old enough to have some perspective on life, but still young enough to enjoy it. And what's left out of this
Right.
is something very simple. There's this idea among black folks of the struggle. That's how I define it. The struggle. Civil rights, racism, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's always this idea of activism in relationships. And I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and say that was never true in the past. What I am saying, and I'm using myself as an example, is that that's no longer true in the present. A lot of black folk are very uncomfortable with, now, let me go ahead and say it. A lot of black folk are uncomfortable with the idea of a hedonic relationship, of a relationship based purely on pleasure. We're very uncomfortable with saying that. Now, this is what I meant when I kind of stumbled on my word a second ago. See, we live it. We do it, but we don't openly say it.
Right.
And see, my thinking is this. I had a 22-year career in the skilled trades. I did my bit for king and country. I just want to have fun, man. I'm not here to fight the power. I'm not here to seize the parapet. I'm not here to put together to strategize for a community organizing meeting. For me, black love ain't a revolutionary act. No disrespect to the late great Francis Quest Welsing. Listen, man, I'm just here to have fun, man. I want to have fun. That's what I'm about. And for a lot of black women and some black men, the idea of black love, quote unquote, is basically a community organizing project. And make of it what you will, man. I'm just not in that space. I'm just not. I'm trying to enjoy life, have fun, have sex. That's where I'm at with it. Now, I do realize that I don't have kids. I'm a bachelor. I get that. But in saying that, there are a lot of brothers like me. I'm not some anomaly. I'm not some kind of rarity here. There are literally millions of black men like me, which is another reason why I needed to write the book, because this is completely not acknowledged. And so I think what we're seeing, and this, I don't have any scientific evidence here, so I want to make that clear, but my impressions of everything, with so much observation and study, is that a lot of brothers are at where I'm at. I think that's one of the reasons why I have such a big following, because a lot of brothers understand where I'm coming from and agree with it. I'm not in that. If I ever was in that space in the past, I'm certainly not now. I just want to have fun, man. That's where I'm at with it. And so a lot of black men like me hear these sisters with this demeanor, and it's just a turn on. It's not even, I'm at the point now where I don't even get excited about it or get hot and bothered about it, ready to fight. I'm at the point, man, where I'm just numb by it. I'm just dulled by it all. I just don't want to be bothered.
Yeah. You talked about how with black men, thriving and getting better, things obviously not perfect, but there are, in small increments, we can see black men growing and evolving and changing in this world. You talk about how we want, different things. And you talked about how when black men's choices are expanding. And what I gather from that, if our choices are expanding, then black women, their choices would have to be shrinking, because you talk about a lot of times how they're the least sought after when it comes to other men. So if black men are expanding out, then black women, their choices would have to be shrinking.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
The problems that you're talking about, they're going to significantly get worse unless something changes where everybody gets on the same page, or as you say, we want different things. Until we start wanting the same thing, their options are going to shrink, and then black men's options are going to get wider.
Yeah. The thing that really bothers me, I've been reading a lot of researchers, like I said, I'm doing a lot of study on this black love thing, so I'm coming at it from the perspective of the self-styled relationship experts, and then of course from the from the academic end. What I find that all of them miss is this attitudinal piece. Again, we approach it from a, I would say, almost disembodied place. I mean, desire matters. Having fun matters. Pleasure matters. I don't know how else to say it.
I wanted to comment on that one too. When you talked about that pleasure, this is what I'm seeing. When a woman is with a guy who's, the saying that kind of has legs now. I hadn't heard it until recently. The walking dildo. When she's with the walking dildo guy, she's making a choice clearly about pleasure. If she's not throwing herself at the mercy of the most competent guy that's willing to commit to her. And let's even ask him, look, the best looking competent guy that's willing to commit to her. If that's not her mating criteria going forward, then I don't think she gets to talk about community and wanting fathers in the home, because if her mating choices doesn't reflect a woman that wants fathers in the home, if she's getting with the sketchy, non-committal walking dildo guys that aren't going to stick around. So going back to that pleasure, she's making mating choices about the pleasure. And then when you just go ahead and say, okay, let's talk about that pleasure. And they're like, no, community. And what about the children and the families? But look at how people are living. Their actions aren't lining up with the words when you look at what a lot of people do in these situations.
Exactly. And that's exactly my point. And you hit the nail right on the head. A lot of black women, we talked about this today on the show earlier. A lot of black women are doing, you want to know the reason why so many black women talk about the down low? It's not because it has any factual basis. You total up all the black men that are gay in the country. If you're lucky, you get 5% of black gay men.
When I looked it up, I saw 4% with black men, like 3% with white men, and 3.5% with Hispanic or Latino men.
Exactly.
That's statistically meaningless.
Exactly.
As far as I'm concerned.
So, but here's the real reason why, this is just my opinion, why so many black women, those who do this, go into the download thing, because they themselves are download. Let me explain what I mean by that. I'm not necessarily saying that they're bi or lesbian, although some are, but that's not what I mean. When I say down low, I mean a lot of black women do what you just did, what you just said rather. They will avail themselves of a guy in the black manosphere parlance, a Pookie or Ray Ray, a cad, a thug, a player, basically a brother that pretty much just offers good dick. That's it. But and black women know this, which is the reason why they're not balls out with it. They do it under the covers, so to speak, on the down low. And it's all about pleasure for them. What's fascinating about this SYSBM debate, and those that want to argue that black men are, exploiting, black women or women in general of other locales, i.e. sex tourism, what they conveniently leave out is black women have organized cruises to places like Italy and stuff like that for sex tourism. Organized. And this is nothing new. This has been around for going back at least to 2008 and beyond. And the point is this, and my point is this, because this is very important. My point is this. Black women have enjoyed having a cultural and social space where their pleasure is important. And I am not against that. In fact, I'm all for it. But when it comes to certain black men, because remember, they're not directing this, shout out to Alan Roger Curry, they ain't directing this to the walking dildo guys.
Right.
They're directing this to a
when he said
certain
that.
type of black men. And the community at large endorses this. The idea that we need a cadre of responsible black men to do the heavy lifting. I love to use that song by R&B singer Joe, to do all the things the man you fucking ain't doing. That's very important. And so this debate at present with regard to SYSBM, etc., really what, and to use the recent untimely demise of NBA legend Kobe Bryant, you saw the outpouring of black women. And what did they say right off the rip with Kobe Bryant? He's going to take that wealth and give it to someone else. So now it's revealed what this is all about. It's about the money. It's about the resources. That's what this is about. This is about the guys that black women may not want, but they need. Because black women are getting what they want. I mean, we got an 80% out of wedlock birth rate. You know, black women talk a mean game about celibacy, but do we really believe that? Does any black man that's had, especially a lot of success sexually with black women, does he believe that? The celibacy talk. What's going on is that on the down low, they banging a Pookie, they're banging that Thug, they banging that Madden King, they're getting banged out by that Cad, you know, and, you know, they keep it quiet. And then they, you know, bang the drum for where are all the good black men, meaning where are all the good non-select guys who will do for me non-sexually what I need them to do.
Yep, the good old dual mating strategy.
Yeah.
That's out there. That's a thing. Looking at the strong black woman, what gets tossed into that conversation is the term, and we mentioned this on the last show. And actually, when Game Changer, he was covering that Sally Jesse Raphael thing, and I was listening to a small bit of that, and I heard them talking about how black men are intimidated by these career women and these women who are strong-willed or whatever they were saying. They were basically talking about how black men are intimidated, and it's the reason that's laughable to even imply that their dating and mating failures is because men are intimidated by them. What I said to that, okay, yeah, Victoria's Secret models are intimidated by me. That's why I'm having problems getting with Victoria's Secret models. It's like they just have just a whole network where they just say things that just don't correspond with reality. And I try to,
And you know, and women in general, black women in particular, they don't have the type of setup where you are immediately examined. You know, when you complain. See, when men complain, they're immediately examined.
Yeah.
In one way or another, or very often very harshly at that. So women aren't, in this case black women, aren't harshly examined. You say, okay, well, let's look at that. First of all, the number one thing is, why do you assume that men, in this case black, want you because of your career success? Why do you assume that? Why do you assume that's a factor at all? Do you even consider what black men want? Black women do know what black men want, and they're very upset about it. That's the reason why they harp and bitch and moan and complain about it all the time. Colorism, featureism, fat shaming, body shaming. You know, a real man that takes care of a woman and her kid. All this nonsense. These are clearly things black men, by and large, in the main, if they could choose it, do not want. You know, the fucked up attitudes and all the rest of it. They don't want that. And the black men that are in a position to choose, as we see with the SYSBM debate, they don't choose that. Even if it's on a temporary sex tourism basis, They don't choose that. So the current moment really raises the question. This thing has been going on with regard to, don't blame it on Rio and all that. That's been going on since at least the 2000s. And actually goes on before that. So with the SYSBM debate now that's exploding all over social media, a real question has to be asked. If so many black men, or a rising tide of black men, now in a position to have considerable disposable income, are willing to travel thousands of miles for a blowjob and a smile, what does that say about today's rank and file black woman here in the States? That's a question that at some point has to be honestly addressed.
Yeah. When black women talk about these issues and they describe it in the convoluted way that they do that really doesn't correspond with reality, do you think that they are lying to themselves? Are they lying to themselves, or are they true believers? Like to what degree do you think that they just get together, they lie to themselves, they lie to each other, and then they have a lot of other black men who will lie to them? Sally Jesse Raphael, they'll pat them on the head too. So do you think that do you think that they're lying to themselves, or they're true believers? What do you call
I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing, because, and the reason why I say it, I'm not trying to be flippant. The reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of black women honestly do believe that black men kind of owe it to them to Iyanla Vanzant said it best, stand it and understand it and help them fix it. I'm sorry. I'm not in that place in my life. I'm about having fun. And, I love the delicious irony here, but I'm just going to take black women's own rhetoric and put it right back on them in classic jujitsu fashion. I'm not trying to build a fun chick. I don't want to build a fun chick. I want a fun chick comes right out the box, ready to roll, ready to have fun. That's where I'm at with it. So if you got problems, you have issues, you need understanding, you need patience, I'm not your guy. You came to the wrong place.
Yeah, you want a plug and play chick, like they said. You want a plug and play man.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And I have no problem with that. I accept that. Black men have accepted that black women ain't trying to build a boo. Okay. Well, now it's our turn. We're not trying to build a fun chick. I'm sorry. You got to already be there. Now, if you're not, you on something else. No hard feelings. I'm moving on. It's funny. Another thing I'll tell you. Black women, and they're not alone. There have been black men who agree with this, that tell, the non-select, because let's be honest, as Alan Roger Curry rightly pointed out, they're not talking about all black men. They're talking about a certain type. Okay. So let's have that conversation. They want these guys to move on. Well, guess what? You got your wish. We're moving on.
Okay, yeah. Now, I get accused of being a little sappy sometimes about this, because I actually do want to see black men and black women get it together. Some people are talking about, forget the community. I want to see us as a collective of people do better. I think it starts with families. As you pointed out plenty of times, this goes many moons ago, back when Cynthia G would even get on a panel with you. I remember you put a question to her on O'Shea, and you were like, these problems, they're personal. It's about two people getting together, getting married, or even if they're not signing the legally binding documents, if they just have a relationship that resembles a marriage, and working together, having kids, and building the type of black people that they want to see. It starts in the home. You talk about that all the time, and that's why I would like to see more black couples. I would like to see more black families. I would like to see it work out for Black people. And I could be naive with this, but where are you at on that? Do you think that as far as Black men and Black women, do you think that there's even a hopeful future where we'll someday see more Black families or more Black couples, or are you just all the way? Because when you said that you announced your support for SYSBM, and that's when I was like, okay, he's done. He's through. I used to say you was a closeted pro-Black, but now I'm like, nah. I think he's let that go. I mean, have you fully just threw in the towel on Black America and Black men and Black women, getting together and being some actual real couples and real families that try to stick together?
That's a good question. Let me answer it this way. I think Cynthia G is emblematic of where Black women are. When you sit down and think about it, she's not nobody. She's not nothing. She has a following. There are a lot of Black women who agree with her to varying degrees.
One real small point before hold your thought. When you say there's a lot of Black women who agree with her, you want to know what I've noticed? It's a lot of Black women who frequent the Black manosphere spaces and will agree with a lot of things that the men are saying, but just pay attention. You will find them in a chat room rooting and cheering for Cynthia G. So when you used to say, when you still say it, but when you used to say that Cynthia G isn't just some outlier, I was like, nah, she's probably, I didn't think as many Black women agreed with her, but I've been paying attention to who's in the chat and even on my Facebook page, it's a page that's, I forgot what it's called, Melanated Universe, where they're talking about Black issues and Black families and Black love and all of this, and they was posting Cynthia G videos on there. And I'm like, this is the same woman who said that even if a Black man is competent, that Black woman still shouldn't respect him or submit to him, even if he's doing all of those things. She said he still shouldn't, because he's in a system of white supremacy and he submits to a white man, so she shouldn't respect or submit to him.
And what? See, the reason why she doesn't want to go one-on-one with me, because I'm not going to go for that bullshit. Mm-hmm. See, I know what turns her crank. See, a lot of Black women are like Cynthia G to this extent, that they just can't accept that. And hey, look, this is what turns me on. The guys that do the right thing, they are boring. They're boring, they're stable, they're predictable, they're dependable. That doesn't do it for me. The guy that's, irresponsible, unpredictable, kind of a rebel, Robert Perkins, that's the guy that does it for me. And see, a lot of Black women can't bring themselves to just admit that, because if you do, people are going to look at you like you got a third eye in the middle of the head.
They can't talk it. That's why you called it the down low. Right.
And so this is the reason why we have all these grandiose schemes and cockamamie harebrained notions of white supremacy, all this stuff. That's the reason why. And a lot of people go hook, line, and sinker for it. I don't, which is the reason why. That's the main number one reason why she won't go straight up with me. Because my thing is, I would say to Cynthia, and there are many Black women like her, look, just own the fact that dudes like Perkins turns your crank and live with it. Which means you're going to be raising your kid on your own. That's the price you pay for getting with guys like Perkins. That's the price. April Mason, another case in point. I mean, there are literally millions of Black women like these people. This is the reason why I talk about them so much. Feminista Jones. These people say that I'm obsessed with them. That would be incorrect. It would be more accurate to say that I'm obsessed with the type of Black women they represent, which are literally millions. These are just avatars or representatives of these types of Black women. And what they all have in common is that they have a certain sexual attraction to a certain type of Black man who just tends to happen not to be the most reliable, the most responsible, the most dependable. And that's okay. It's okay. The only thing now is you have to be prepared to live with the consequences of having a thing for that type of guy. And stop scapegoating the brothers like me, who did do the right thing all their life.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. I'm shoulder to shoulder with you on that. You mentioned April Mason. I only saw about half of your show today. I know you were covering her. Just talk about that real briefly. I'm going to probably go check it out, see what's going on. I don't know if you're posting your show from today on FS Avenger, because I really don't know what was going on. I just been seeing a picture of April Mason and Crystal and Karazin together. They had some kind of event going on, and I know one highlight of it that kind of shocked me that you guys pointed out that April Mason had mentioned something like, yeah, because the men, in plural, the men that I'm dating, and it's like, if she can still say men that she's dating, plural, she's not even on a path that's on the way to a marriage no time soon. If she still has a plurality of men that she's dating. I heard that part and I was like, oh, she's still out there like she's 22, dating multiple men and all of that. But yeah, just talk briefly about the whole April Mason, Crystal and Karazin thing and whatever they got going on. I really don't know too much.
That's an excellent case in point. Like you said, she said multiple, plural men, not one guy or. And then she said, my platonic male friends, I had to teach them to understand what's going on. I'm a black woman. I said, oh, stop. See, there we go again.
Hold on, say that part again.
The idea that I'm black, you black, your mama black, which is the reason why you need to be about Beck and Carl. It's an iteration of what Cynthia's doing with it. In other words, the underlying commonality, the common denominator is race. Black women have been masterful at gaslighting the fuck out of black men on a racial basis. Colorism / featureism. Black men need to protect black women because your mama is black, your sisters are black. Black men are being dominated by a global system of white supremacy. Black women have been masterful at gaslighting the bejesus out of black men on racial grounds. It's bogus. Here's the real truth with April Mason. The reason why she loves flashing her titties and all that all the time, shout out to Alan Roger Curry. She's dangling the possibility of sex so that you do all the non-sexual shit for her that the stuff that the nigga she banging ain't doing. You see, black women understand their own urges and drives and desires. They just want to make you think they don't understand it. They understand it very well. Which is the reason why women have been trying to take down the black manosphere for years now. Because we're putting out the truth. Again, my position is, hey, look, if I don't turn you, this is what I teach my guys, it's going to be in the book of Obsidian. Hey, listen, it ain't no thing here. If I ain't your cup of tea, not a problem. I'm moving on. See, the argument, a lot of black women honestly thought that the non-select guys would do anything to get next to them. And that might have been true in the past. But that was then. This is now. We're in the present right now. And it's clear the non-select guys ain't willing to do anything. They might do some things, but they ain't willing to do anything to get next to you. And the big lesson learned out of the April Mason incident is just that. That was a powerful incident that the black manosphere was pretty much unified in not responding to April Mason. She got a shock from that because she's so used to non-select brothers, beta males if you will, panting and chomping at the bit, for the possibility of saying, but you figure it out eventually. This is not going to happen. And you move on. And that's what happened in this case. What April Mason has yet to rock is that the non-select brothers have moved on. She's free to bang whoever she want to bang. God bless her. But you're on your own. Yo, she said she's got a 380 pistol. Good, you're gonna need it.
Yeah, but hold on. Why does she need a 380 pistol? You know, she has men that she's dating. They got her back. They gonna cover all that for her.
The only thing they got on her back is the nuts they busting on it. And I'm just being brutally frank there. A lot of black women, more so than other groups, so I'm not saying other groups of women don't do this, but black women do it to a much greater degree. A lot of black women honestly believe that they can kind of, outsource all their husband shit, their hubby shit. They get a guy that they like to fuck, and then they try to outsource all the rest. And how's that working out for them?
Yeah, my lady friend, to steal your term, she has a friend, and this is the friend that I don't allow her. She can't go out with this. She can only deal with this friend when the sun is out. I'm not gonna say you can't be friends with her, but this is the one that no. Y'all not meeting up, or y'all not going nowhere. Y'all not doing nothing. If the sun is on the way down, you and her are not friends. Y'all can do brunch. Because this friend got some she do got one really a nice married friend. This is the unmarried friend, and this friend, when you talk about having non-select guys doing things for you, this woman, she literally there's a guy who fixes things. He has some kind of he's a contractor, has some kind of business. She has like a lot of extra space in her driveway. She let him keep some of his stuff there at her house just in exchange for him cutting her grass and fixing stuff and doing stuff, but she wasn't really messing with him. He wasn't super select. There's a school principal that's been trying to get with this woman for like 15 years, who's actually like a mentor to her kids. He's mentoring her kids, a school principal. Would marry this woman. She still has him hanging, floating out there in limbo, beta orbiting. The guy that she's throwing herself at, drug dealer. It's crazy, and I don't even go whole hog with the argument like the Pookie and Ray Ray's getting all the girls. Like no, it's layers and levels to that. I know, but it's just crazy when you see stuff like that. How they do try to outsource the other things. She has the Mr. Fix-It man that comes by and does all kind of shit just for a thank you. There's a educated school principal who's been trying to get with her for years, and he's was a mentor to her son and her daughter, and her kids are damn near grown at this point. It's like it's crazy when you see stuff like that, and a lot of it, I'm like, at what point do the men, well, I guess this is the point, especially if your book blows up. It's getting to that point where the men are seeing that we got to have more respect for ourselves, for our time, for our hard work, our efforts, our energies. The men who are still doing all of this extra stuff for women just for the possibility of possibly getting some sex. Shout out to ARC. It's ridiculous, and it's ongoing, and it's so many stories like that. And I fell into that at one point in my past where I was that guy, and it's ridiculous. And it's like so many women do that to where, and so many men have done that, and so many men know men that have done that, and so many women know men that have done that. And that's why it just puzzles me when some of your talking points, as harsh as you may be, as triggering as you may be to some people, it is some of your talking points shouldn't be denied. When it comes to them trying to have a roster of multiple men with multiple talents who can do multiple things, and the one guy who's just good for one thing, and that's the guy she's getting sex from, that's the guy she's throwing herself, that's the guy she's going to mess her life up with. But all these guys that she ought to probably be with, if she wants the type of life she says she wants, just using them for whatever she can get out of them. And that's one of your core arguments that people will try to deny and disagree with, but they know that is happening.
Yep. I'm just speaking of earlier today's show. A guy told me that his wife listens to me religiously, but she can't stand my guts.
Because you're right about it.
Yeah. She said he's got to be so abrasive. But it's true. But I really don't like him. What he's saying is true. I don't like him because he's so abrasive. Well, I mean, the truth is abrasive. There is no pleasant truth.
Right.
The truth by its very nature is abrasive. And, I'm only saying things that black women, in this case black women, themselves know is true. I haven't said anything that's a lie. And I'm saying it's okay. All I'm saying, you talked about April Mason's show earlier. I made the case there. Look, I get it. This is the type of guy to turn your crank. Fine. I'm moving on. So here's the price you pay for dealing with guys like that. You forfeit anything from me or guys like me. You forfeit.
Yeah.
You don't get to go to the nice gala events, all expense paid. You don't get the nice trip to Paris. You don't get to, have nice dinners at steakhouses like Fogo de Chao. You don't get to live in nice, zip codes where you don't have to worry about being harassed on the street or being attacked. Because the statistical crime data bears out the fact that that's a rarity. A true anomalous one-off, if it happens at all. You don't get to enjoy all those benefits because you've chosen the kind of man that turns your crank, but that's all he does for you. And that's your choice. Which leads me to a question that I'm noticing certain black femininity influencers have picked up. Do you have a hospice care plan? What is going to be the plan for the rest of your life? Because you're going to have to do it for yourself. See, now the rubber hits the road. Black women have been able to say for years how strong and independent, and they don't need no man now. But now it gets real. Now we're going to find out if that really is true. Because the non-select guys ain't going to be around until you kick them around anymore. It's not going down like that. You get with the guys that do it for you, and good luck. You're going to need it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think we are closing in on getting close to the hour. I wanted to go until about 9 o'clock, and I got some things I got to get to, but we can pretty much wrap this up. I think we got it.
Yeah, and again, I want to apologize to you and your listeners for the messed up sound quality the other day. I wanted to get another crack at the Apple, and I'm glad that you gave me a chance to do it. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, yeah, it all worked out. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out how my audience has grown and increased ever since our little collaboration that we did. So I'm coming out on top in this thing. So hey, you're telling me, hey, thank you. You do a lot for black male content creators. I've done a lot for some black female content creators. So yeah, you make a lot of this possible. So yeah, I got to thank you for these two collabs we just did, and hopefully many more to come.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Bernie.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Peace.